Dylan, you remember?
The jacket is the outside layer,
Okay,
which
just
protects the leaf.
right. But let me stop you. It's not a coat. It's not a jacket. It's a coat, a seed coat. But you've got the same idea. Okay, and then what else?
It protects the outside layer of it, and once we got inside of it, there were two parts. There was one on the left and one on the right, and if you split them open, there was a middle part that was holding the two jackets together, and then there was a tiny little sliver, and that was oh, I forgot the name.
Okay, am I forgetting something?
Embryo.
Are you answering the question, or you guys look like you're trying to remind me of something I forgot? Okay, I was hoping I didn't miss something. Okay, well, Dylan was still talking. Okay, so the seed coat, and then
the two middle parts.
the inside of the seed, and what else is in?
And then there's a thing that hold the jacket together, and then the embryo.
Coat. The embryo, right. Every seed has a new plant inside. So that's called the embryo. Autumn, what were you going to say?
That on the sides there's the stored food.
Right. If you take away the coat and the embryo, what's left is the food for the new plant, which we didn't read on page 60. There's a box there about observing the seed, and the stored food has a name. It's called the cotyledon. Cotyledon. That's the name of the stored food. Okay, so let me ask you some questions. Why will you never get cherries from radish seeds? Autumn?
Because seeds reproduce what they were from.
Right, they only can reproduce their own kind. Why is the stored food inside the seed important? Marissa?
To help the baby plant grow.
Right. Just like we learned different insects, they bury their eggs near food so that when the eggs hatch, they can immediately eat the food. Who can tell me as many purposes of flowers as you can remember? There's 4. Remember what a purpose of a flower is, Micah?
To reproduce the plant, to make life and soil non-renewable, to make pollen for the pollinator so they can have something to eat.
Okay.
To make carbon dioxide, to make oxygen.
Well, not the flower. That's actually the leaves. But that was good, Micah. So one reason is to glorify their Creator, which is who is God. Second thing is it brings enjoyment to man. Don't you? When maybe sometimes your dad buys your mom a bouquet of flowers because they're so pretty, because she enjoys them. And then they also provide pollen and nectar for the insects. And then they produce seeds that will reproduce. Okay. Let's go ahead and do your activity book first. Okay? So we were talking about the parts of a seed, and on page 37, now we're going to label the parts. Alright, so they already drew a lima bean for you. Okay, so got the outside, and then when you break it open, okay, so this is the outside the seed, what's that called?
Seed coat.
The seed coat. Now we're gonna write that on the top line because we're gonna write some other things. Seed coat. And what does the seed coat do?
Protects the outside.
Right? It protects the young. It protects the new baby plant. Or actually, okay, so it's the next two lines. Protects the young, let's just say embryo. So this is 3 lines. Seed coat protects the young embryo. And then what is, here we've got the little plant inside. What's that called? The embryo. And what's the embryo? The
Young seed.
right, the new plant. And then that plant will grow and then have lima beans, and then each of those lima beans will have a new plant, and then they'll grow, and then it's just goes on forever. And then on the inside of the bean, you've got what?
Stored food.
Right, the stored food. What does the stored food do? Just like food does for you, it
Stores it.
okay, it is stored, but it nourishes. Nourishes the new plant. Okay. Question?
In first grade, we played in a glass cup, and we put lima bean in it, and we watered it every so often.
Okay.
And we could, since it was a glass cup, we left a little space for us to watch it,
Mm-hmm.
and it grew up to be a plant.
Neat. Actually, that we should do something like that. Last year I had, it's a planter with the side of it is plastic, so you can plant a seed and watch the seed, the root grow and the plant. And I can't find it. I don't know where it went. So I don't know if I let somebody borrow it or what, but I need to look for that. So look down at the flower part, and who can tell me, so we've got different parts of the flower. Let me draw the flower real quick.
Wait, what about the last line?
Well, it's just an extra line if you need more room to write. Okay. So let's see. Let's start here. What's that centerpiece called?
Stamina.
No.
Pistol.
The pistil.
Pistol.
Okay. And what does the pistil do? Yes, it makes seeds. Okay, and then I'm going to add, let's see. Okay, what are these leaves underneath called? The sepal, right. And what does the sepal do? The bud, right. Protects the bud. So see how God provided a way for protection for the seed and for the flower. He didn't just throw them out there and say, okay, fend for yourself, go make it. He gave it a protection. All right, and then we've got, oh, that was not a good one.
Oh, that looks like a butterfly.
I'm just gonna, they're hard.
Looks like
Okay, what are these called?
petals.
Petals. It's actually petals, not pedals, because pedals are what you use for your bike. Because remember, P-E-D means feet. So petal, and what does the petal do?
It attracts the pollinators.
Excellent. Attracts the pollinators. Okay, and then we've got all these guys. So, where is that written? That's written over here. And then each one of these has, and what's the purpose of the stamen? Very good. Holds pollen. Turn the page. We've got
A tree.
three parts of a tree. What's the top called? Crown. What is number 2 called? The trunk. And what is number 3 called? The roots. Good. Okay. Let's see here. So let's skip 39 for now and go to 41. And let's see if we can label. See if we can label these. Does everybody have all this in their book? Who said no?
I just moved roots.
Oh, roots? Okay. Okay, let's stop the singing, please, okay? I like that you're singing, but not right now. So, name the tree that is associated with the picture. So it either might have the leaves or the fruit. So we're going to name the tree. So for number 1, what kind of a leaf is that? Oak. Next to number 1, write oak. We're on page 41. Number 2, what tree is that from? Maple, very good. Do you remember what that's called?
Maple tree. It's like a key.
What's the name? A key, very good. Number 3, remember the little cones and the little pines?
Pine needles.
Hemlock. Okay. Number 4, home. Close. Number 5, what kind of a tree is that with the long needles? Pine. Number 6. Fir. Fir has the pine cones growing up. And then number 7. Remember the leaf with the teeth on the edge looking? What'd you say? No, not oak. Starts with an E. Elm. Number 8.
Spruce.
Okay, now what is that fruit from? What kind of a tree? An acorn comes from a oak tree. And then number 10 is a maple. Very good. Okay, so that's all we're going to do in our activity book for today. So you can put that in your folder, but then I want you to turn in your books to page 61. All right, so we were talking about seeds yesterday. Actually, we brought in, my husband helped collect them. He was driving and I said, when you're out driving, can you stop and if you see any seeds, can you stop and get some? But this is one that Mrs. Brooks brought in. What kind of plant is that? Do you know?
Milkweed.
Milkweed. So what kind of
Monarch butterfly.
larva? Yeah, the monarch butterfly. So actually when you open these, what happens was these dry out and turn brown and then they crack open. And so inside, they're not quite ripe yet, but inside it's almost like the feathers of seeds. Okay, I'm dropping. But it won't, this isn't opening just right. Okay, this isn't quite ripe. But inside, if it was ripe, it would come open and all these just real silky, all these silky little feathery things, and each one has a little seed on the end, would just come right out and fly away. Yes?
My grandmother has milkweed, and we, when they open, we take the fluffy stuff out and throw it around so that more come.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. I like to do that. So maybe I can try to find some more riper ones. Okay, and then my husband got some corn out of the field. Do you know why? Because each one of these kernels is a seed.
I have some.
So just in one ear of corn, there are hundreds of seeds. So actually when you eat an ear of corn, you're eating seeds. This is what you would plant if you were you would plant one of these to make a new stalk of corn.
Really?
Yes.
So you can
Micah.
Shh.
Shh, I can't hear Micah.
That's not our corn.
I know. Okay. And then he picked one of these branches. I think this might be juniper. Okay, but it has these little berries on it, and the berries contain seeds. And then he picked these things growing along the road, and each one of these, if you would rub it in your hand, see how those things flying? Those are all seeds. Each one of those is a seed. So you can imagine when these die off and all the seeds just fall in the ground, no wonder there's so many growing the next year. Okay, and then he also got this, which looks like a lily pod or something like that. And then this grows in my flower bed. These were lilies this summer, but then it leaves this, and if you listen real closely, you can hear the seeds rattling inside. Oh, except all my seeds came out. Oh, they all they wouldn't. Here's one.
You should put it back in.
Shh. Here, get back in there. You can actually hear it. Listen. Hear it? Hear the seed rattling? So, and you can see. How does it? We don't get up and come up front. Okay. So this, what happens? These die, and then the seeds fall out and make new plants. Okay, so that leads us. Oh, and also, Micah went back in the woods yesterday, and when he came back, he had all these seeds on his pants. Okay. Oh, you did. Well, if you walk in the woods, you might come out with all these little green seeds on your pants. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. Logan?
I live by some woods, and I usually go in there to like find some stuff and just like chill in there on this giant log that fell down. And when I would come back out, some of my shoes and socks and pants would have those on there.
Right. My dad used to well, he still does, but
I hate those.
he would go deer hunting, and he'd come home with all these in all over his clothes, and my sister and I had to pick all those seeds off. That was our one chore. Okay, Brayden?
I live right behind some woods,
Mm-hmm.
and there's usually some deer or some squirrels there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a door.
Okay, good. Marissa?
I live right next to corn, so when they come and cut it down, they leave like a lot of it on the ground. And we collect it.
It just goes.
Okay, so page 61, let's talk about traveling seeds. We talked about that already. Fruits are designed in many different ways to help the seed travel to a place where it can sprout and grow. If seeds could not travel away from the parent plant, they would not be able to grow into strong, healthy plants. Because the older, taller plant would take the larger share of sunlight, water, and minerals available in that spot. God designed several ways for fruits to help the seeds move away from the parent plant. So the parent plant is selfish, only because it's big. So if it has seeds and they grow right there, that seed's not going to get as much sunlight and moisture and food. Okay, Micah?
Does the plant still take water when it's big?
All right, so let's talk about airborne seeds. Many kinds of seeds are moved by the wind. Seeds that are designed to be spread by the wind are usually lightweight. Orchids produce seeds that are as fine as dust. Because orchid seeds are so light, the wind can easily carry them. The beautiful poppy flower produces a capsule fruit. After the petals fall off, the capsule splits open in dry weather. The many tiny poppy seeds are released when the capsule shakes in the wind. So, and also we talked about, actually we'll get to that in a second. So, wind. Other airborne seeds are attached to downy tufts or plumes. These fine hairs help the seeds to float on the breeze. Turn the page. Cattails, dandelions, milkweed, and thistles are a few of the plants that are equipped with downy hairs. Have you ever seen a dandelion that has gone to seed? Each tiny seed has its own little parachute. That's a good way to think of it. You can see it in the picture there. That's kind of what the milkweed looks like too. It has, except their parachute's bigger because the seed's bigger. Some seeds, which are designed to travel through the air, have wings. Many grasses have small winged seeds. Each seed in a pine cone has one delicate wing that is caught by a gentle breeze. Because maple seeds and elm seeds are heavier than most other wind-borne seeds, God designed the special wings of these seeds and placed them on very tall plants. There the seeds are better able to catch the wind and travel to a new location. So did you know that about the pine tree? So the pine cone, if you rub it like this,
Yeah.
all those seeds fall off. Each one of those little brown pieces is a seed, and it's actually shaped like a wing. So the wind can take it and carry it. Okay, and then on number 4, it has a picture of elm seeds, which we haven't seen yet. Okay, most winged seeds travel several hundred feet, but one maple seed holds an amazing record. It traveled 6 miles. Wow. In the central and western parts of the United States, there are several different kinds of plants which are called tumbleweeds. When their seeds are ripe, tumbleweeds become so dry that they break off from their roots. As the wind carries the plants across the prairie, tumbleweeds scatter their seeds wherever they go. So have you ever seen those in the movies? More, and it said the central and western. So like right around in here, you would have the more desert kind of land, and that's where the tumbleweeds would grow. Have you ever seen a cowboy movie where you see this tumbleweed
Yeah, and then
tumbling across? As it's tumbling, it's dropping seeds and spreading it. It's almost like a wheel. Okay? Real quickly, Jacob.
I forget what it was, but I think it was in Utah. I'm not sure. There was a house that they were just having a normal day, and then hundreds of these tumbleweeds just came and blocked their door. It went to the roof.
That would be interesting.
It was
Okay. So that's talking about airborne seeds, seeds that travel through the air, usually by wind. Now let's talk about water. Water is another distributor of seeds. Rain washes seeds out of open seed pods and carries them to new locations. Some waterborne seeds are covered with a waxy coating that keeps them from being soaked. Plants that grow in or near a body of water often depend on it to scatter their seeds. Pussy willow seeds are spread when the wind blows them into the water. They float on the surface and wash up to the shore. Often they soak up just the right amount of water so that they are able to sprout and grow where they land. Coconuts fall into the ocean and float to islands or other shores where they grow into coconut palm trees. Seeds of red mangrove tree sprout roots while they are still on the tree. Wow, so look at that picture there. You see the seed on the plant, and it's actually growing roots while it's still attached to the plant before it's even taken somewhere. So did you know coconuts were a seed?
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Okay? So when you eat a coconut, you're eating the seed of a coconut tree. Micah.
It says that. I don't think that it is the seed. I think the seeds are inside it, because in the coconut song it says it's a fruit, not a seed. It's not a nut. And nuts are the seeds, but fruit have the seeds in them.
Okay. I'm not sure. But according to this, the coconut falls into the ocean, and then it grows into a new coconut tree, palm tree. Okay, Alex.
So actually, I'm Tyler at the grade. We ride our dirt bikes there, like the first day we get there, and we always ride to this gigantic fossil, and it's pretty much shaped like a gigantic bowl, and it's filled with water, and when it's filled with water, there's actually the red mango